magic, where magic meets the heart. Commander's Pod, where the stories unfold, with heroes and villains new and old. Duncan and Sloan got the word, in the world of EVA we play.
Hello everyone, welcome again to Commander's Pod. I'm your pod father Duncan.
I'm Sloan.
And we are Jeffless once again.
Yeah, little scheduling conflicts that came up and
Yep.
so
Yep, he's a busy guy, so.
apparently.
Yep. Not busy playing Magic, but that's another subject. Today we're going to talk about a few things. We're going to talk about some upcoming sets changes that we've noticed. That's a disturbing trend.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about that and just some various bits of news about these sets and things that have been exciting and not as exciting.
Yeah, we got a big card release that a lot of people have been talking about that we're going to go over, which is super exciting and super cool. And then we're going to do some pro tips at the end. And because we don't have Jeff, we're going to skip over Jeff Aggro this week. And he's not on vacation or anything, so we're not going to guess what's aggravating like we normally do because he just literally, I guess, checked his schedule this morning for today, I guess.
Yeah.
Which I don't,
he comes to me and he said, "Are we recording today?" And I'm like, "Well, it's Monday."
It's crazy that it's Monday and we record every Monday.
Yeah.
Who would have thunk it?
Yep. And then we'll have a Tales from the Table, which let's start with that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I unfortunately had to miss Saturday
Yeah.
because my wife is getting ready to go out of town this weekend. So she had some shopping to do. So I told all the guys, I was like, I'm going to be there Saturday night. And I unfortunately didn't make it. So I did not get to experience this firsthand.
Yeah.
However, I heard it was quite the play.
Yeah, well, so first of all, let me have this set up here. Right? So it was Andrew, myself, our buddy Mike, and our other buddy Dwayne. Okay? Mike and Dwayne. Mike has played a lot more Magic than Dwayne. Dwayne had also played both more a long time ago than now.
Then present.
They've gotten into it more now.
Pre-Commander really existing. Mike did play a little bit at the beginning of Commander's existence, but then stopped playing for a long time. But I don't think Dwayne really ever did Commander, from my knowledge.
Right. No. Well, so he had to have because he had a deck.
Oh, that's right. He brought the one. He had the one red mono.
He
red
dabbled in it and then never went back, I think.
Right. Yeah.
So, but anyway, but they've both been doing a lot better. Mike especially has really been everything's coming back to him. He's like, okay.
He's getting it.
But Andrew and I mean, not to brag, but we're both some of the better players that probably have a better record. And there's a reason why you kill Andrew first.
Right.
And why I'm the one who made sure everybody knows that.
And then everyone who knows that knows also kill Duncan, either first or right after.
Well, if Andrew's playing, you can't kill me first. You got to kill Andrew first.
You can kill you both at the same time, which is technically still first.
True. We were playing, so Dwayne was playing a modified deck that he had done. Mike was playing an unmodified Edge of Eternities, the counterintelligence.
Right.
I'll be honest, I do not remember what Andrew was playing.
I think Mike said he might have been playing a pre-con that was lightly modified.
Lightly modified,
And then you were playing one of your lower-tiered
my lower-tier decks. I was actually playing my Marvo Deep Dwelling, which is a 1/8 octopus, and when it swings, you clash. And then, anyway. So, but the thing that matters here is that Andrew and I, the previous game, it was just the two of us. The other two might as well not have been there. It was like he built up a huge board state. I wiped it out. I started building up a board state. He wiped it out. Mike would have a little bit of stuff out, and he was kind of trying to do stuff, but he'd get caught in these wipeouts.
Yeah, the crossfires.
And then poor Dwayne never got anything going that game.
Yeah, it happens.
It happens. But, so the second game, Andrew won the first game, I think. And the second game, I'm thinking it's going to be more of the same. We switched decks to the ones I just talked about that we were playing, but it was still similar. You know what I mean? He was still playing a modified precon. I was playing a tier 3 deck, and then the R2 were still playing the same deck. So Andrew and I are doing similar things. We're building back up, wiping each other out. Dwayne was a little more involved this time, but Mike kept having something. He had stuff going. But he did get caught in a couple board wipes. But it really looked like Andrew or I were going to win. I mean, that's just how it looked. And So at one point, I passed turn to Mike, and as I said, he's playing the counterintelligence deck, and he's got out. Let me look it up here to be right.
Yeah. So just so if you don't know what counterintelligence is, it's the red, white, blue precon, I believe, from Edge of Eternities. The one that it's the space station that's the commander, correct? Yeah. So the spacecraft commander deck that was pre-constructed.
Yeah, red, white, blue. I was unsure about the colors, but
red, white, blue.
But it's a lot of artifacts.
Right. It's very artifact heavy, and it specifically is tuned to the theme of the counters. Like that's its whole thing is upping your 1/1 counters and charge counters on your stations.
Yep.
And planets.
And he had just switched to the station commander from the other commander. He had been using the other commander the previous game. He goes, let's try it this way. And so he plays Darksteel Reactor.
Yes.
For those that don't know, Darksteel Reactor, it's a little bit older artifact, but they reprinted it for this 4 generic cost, indestructible. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may put a charge counter on this artifact. When it has 20 or more charge counters on it, you win the game.
Yep.
He has out Moxite Refinery. Now, he had another artifact out that when your artifacts die, or if any permanent died, I think, you can put the counters on permanent.
The one he had was you pay 2 and tap it.
Well, that's Moxite Refinery, but I'm saying to set that up, there was an artifact he had out that said when it's not Ozlith, with something else that says when something dies, you put its counters on something else, and then you can pay to move them later or whatever. So he had put them all on Moxite Refinery, and he had like 8. No,
he said he had 9
counters on it. Moxite Refinery costs 2 generic. It's an artifact. Pay 2, tap it. Remove X counters from an artifact or creature you control. Choose one. Activate only as a sorcery. Put X counters on target artifact, or put X +1/+1 counters on target creature. So you can convert
any counters to any of the other counters. Basically.
Well, +1 counters.
Right. That's
you can
what I'm
either
saying.
move
So
them.
You can make the charge counters a +1/+1s, or you can make the +1/+1.
No, you can't. You can't go the other way.
Yeah, because it says you remove all the counters.
Right.
And then
but your only 2 charges options are put X charge counters on, or put X 1/1 counters on.
But you can take all the 1/1 counters off of something and turn them into charge.
Oh, I guess that's true. But
that's
my point was, if it's some other type of counter, you can't.
Right. Yeah. This is only for charge and 1/1 counters,
Yes.
but you can interchange them. So you can take charge counters from something and turn them into 1/1s to buff a creature, or vice versa.
But so he goes to play Darksteel Reactor, and Andrew and I both are like, okay, he's only got 8 counters. Like, even if he moves them, it's 8 counters. Or 9 counters. 9 counters. Yeah. Okay, no big deal. On his upkeep, he's going to get 1 more. If he proliferates a couple times, which he had been doing, no big deal. So he plays something and proliferates.
So what he said was, he swings at Duncan.
That's right. That's right.
Him.
Okay.
So
and Andrew, at this
damage,
point in the game, had the upper hand at this point.
Right.
And I thought everybody was on board that Andrew was the problem.
Right.
So he swung at me, and I said, "What are you doing?"
And
Mike's like, "I know what I'm doing."
Yeah, Mike told me, he goes like, "I told Duncan, I know what I'm doing.
I'm like, whatever, man. It was 3 damage. I took 3 damage. I think I had half of Andrew's life. I had like that put me at like 17.
And you were open was the point.
Yeah.
Because Mike told me at this point, Andrew had built back up.
Yeah.
He couldn't get through, as well as Dwayne. He couldn't hit. So you were the only open target. And specifically, I can't remember the creature he said, but the creature specifically says whenever it deals damage, you get to proliferate.
Which I forgot.
Right.
So I didn't know I was swinging. So, but okay, whatever. So then he proliferates. It goes to 10. And I'm thinking, for 1 measly counter, you weasel. Like, what the heck? You beat me up when Andrew's the problem. Whatever. I'm like, are you falling for the chocolatey smoothness of his voice?
Yeah.
And so then he plays Deep Glow Skate. Deep Glow Skate, when it enters, doubles the counters.
Right.
So now he's got 20
and
2 mana untapped.
Yeah.
So he paid 2.
Moved it.
Boop, boop. Instant win.
Yeah.
And Andrew's like, wait, what? Because he wasn't really paying attention.
Right.
You know, I wasn't understanding what was going on. But once he played Deep Glow Skate, I was like, oh. I didn't say it out loud, but I'm like, oh. I didn't have. I think I was actually hellbent. I had no cards in hand.
Yeah.
Nothing I could do. Andrew didn't realize. So when he puts the counters on, he's like, wait, what? He goes, let me see the Moxite Refinery. He reads it. He's like, Hold on. I'm like, well, Andrew, unless you have a stifle effect,
It's it.
that's it. Game over. Because there's nothing you can do.
I mean, short of destroying the artifact.
Indestructible artifact? Sure.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if you can exile it somehow, which would be just remarkable at instant speed. There's not a lot of things.
Yeah,
that
I
do
mean,
that.
I guess he could have blown up the Moxite refinery. No, because is it pay to
tap it
and remove?
Yeah. So as soon as
that's the activation. So they're already gone.
They're already moving. Yeah.
Yep. So they're gone, and the target's been chosen, and he's already. So blowing up the Moxite would not have done anything.
Not have done anything.
Yeah. So he had to either exile the Dark Style reactor at instant speed, or stifle, and that was it. So Mike won out of nowhere. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah, I mean, and this goes to kind of talk about the point of where we said, like, they have the ability to make good pre-constructed decks that aren't overpowered, but also aren't completely lacking. Because, again, to point out, he was playing against 2 modified precons and a constructed deck that was at bracket 3.
Yep.
And his precon, unmodified, besides switching the commander, won.
Yep. Well, and the commander he switched to is the one that I think the station is the one that is. I don't know.
It's the station that it does something. With
no, but I'm saying I can't remember what's the set commander.
Oh, I
if
can't
it's that
remember
or
either. I thought the station was, but it goes to show you like one Wizards can build decks that aren't overpowered but are also still really good and can compete at a bracket 3-ish level. But secondly, it also goes to show you. Sometimes your opponents don't understand what you're doing because, again, they don't have the knowledge that you have in your hand. And so when Duncan was like, why are you hitting me? Like, Andrew is the issue. He didn't realize, no, Mike's winning on this turn right now. And it's something that...
Well, and I think he might have not played Darksteel Reactor until after he hit...
Right, and I believe that's what he did tell me today, was he intentionally didn't play it until he had hit you, gotten the proliferate off, and then played it.
Yeah.
And then he did the...
But still, we're looking at it going, okay, 10 counters. You still aren't there.
Right. You're still
and then the deep close gate, and it's like, woo.
Got it.
Yep.
So it just goes to show you that, like, sometimes the table, and this is my point against Jeff, the table doesn't always know what's best. They will try to tell you, hey, we need to kill Andrew and deal with Andrew. If I'm staring at my hand, I'm like, no, I'm just going to win on this turn, and I need to hit you to win.
Well, and that was Mike's attitude.
Right.
Like, you could tell he was like, no, I'm going to do my own thing. And I'm like, somebody thinks they got something.
And then they did.
They did. Yes, they did.
You know, and this is my point against politicking is I don't know what the other person has in their hand, and that's why I never feel comfortable with making a deal. If I guarantee you, if Mike would have if Jeff was in that situation, he would have been like, Duncan, if you let me hit you just real quick, I can deal with the situation.
Yeah, that's how he would have put it.
And that's how Jeff would have worded it, because what he's really saying is, I will absolutely deal with Andrew by winning the game right now. Yeah. If you just let me boop you. Yeah. And it's just funny because in my mind... But
I think it's much cooler to not say anything.
Right.
Just
and
be
I think,
why you hit me?
Yeah.
I got this.
Mike did the classic sunglasses fading down on your face, like OG move. But yeah, it's super cool to see these kind of cool combos that you don't get to see a lot. And again, that artifact that he brought up is one of the few that doesn't say at the beginning of your upkeep if you have this many.
It says when.
It's just when. And
when you have 20 or more counters
on it, boom, you win. So that's a cool combo, and that's one that if you guys are looking into building these around these spacecrafts, because they do care a lot about charge counters, that's a great alternate win condition if you have ways to move the counters.
And here's the thing too. Let's say that Andrew had seen it coming, and when he played. When he was going to move from the Deep Gloose Gate to, the Moxite, there another move that Mike could have done: blow up his Moxite with the 20 counters on it, because he has the other artifact that says when something is destroyed, move the counters. So then you just put them on that way.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and so that's the cool thing is that's a cool line to win by, in my opinion. That's a win that. I try to go for sometimes when I build decks is like, what's a funny way to beat people?
Yeah.
And being able to beat people by saying, I just have 20 charge counters. It's also like, who's the guy? Is it from Lord of the Rings? What's his name? If you have 111 life at your upkeep, you win the game.
11-1 life.
Yeah, 11-1
You have to say it 11-1.
Yeah,
it's Bilbo Baggins.
Life, Bilbo Baggins, yeah. That to me, because he's also blue-red, so it's not like you have white. Like, white's the life gain color, and you don't have it. And red's usually just burn. So if you can figure out a way to get to 11-1 life and in blue-red and win the game, that's great.
Well, it's blue over green. So you do have green.
That's right. You do have green. So, but yeah, I mean, winning with 20 charge counters on an artifact that you move at instant speed after you proliferate and then double the charge counters, like that's such a sick.
It was awesome.
It's like you can't get mad at that.
No, nobody was. Everybody was like, that was awesome.
Yeah, but
Andrew's face was priceless. If you can't kill Andrew first, beat him out of nowhere.
Yeah.
That's even better.
Yeah. So that's a really cool. I wish I was able to be there for that. That would have been super fun to experience firsthand. But good on you, Mike. And good job on not letting the table manipulate you and Duncan's quandary into why are you doing this sway you.
Yep.
Well done.
So we don't have aggro Jeff this week.
Aggro Jeff.
But I know what he's not aggro about. That Evendo station or planet that he really liked, the green one from he's told me today, he said people were sleeping on it because it's a Gaia's cradle. You have to get there, you have to station it, but it's a Gaia's cradle and it's sitting at $20 and he's very happy with that. I think he just went on and bought a couple more.
I mean,
I tried to explain to him like $20 for a brand new, like
that's a lot.
Yeah.
Especially when
growing,
it wasn't $20 a week ago.
Yeah. When Growing Rights came out, Growing Rights of Lamont, it was like $10 in the beginning.
Yeah.
Well,
and that's the same thing that happened with a lot of these other cards. Like, for example, I remember when Jewel Lotus first dropped, it was $15, I think.
Yeah.
And then it got up to like $140 within like 2 months or something like that. And
it started super high, and then it dropped down to like 15.
And then it went, and
it
shot, because everyone's like, wait a minute.
Yeah. And even now it's more than 15, and it's banned.
Yeah. Right, which is crazy, because everyone's just holding out that it will get unbanned.
I think it will. I think it will make Game Changer.
Because of the Game Changer list, I think it's something that may get off the ban list.
Maybe, remember, it's August. They said that's when they're going to revisit it. So I'm kind of looking forward to that.
Yeah, we'll have to see. That is something also to bring up is that we're supposed to be getting some new Game Changer changes.
And tier list, maybe some actual updates to how the tiers work.
Yeah, how the brackets work.
Which I think we need because too many people are like, see, it's too loose with its terms and it's too this and,
I
it's
will
too
say,
that.
I experienced this firsthand actually this weekend. So because I couldn't make it to the shop on Saturday, I'll do a quick Tales from the Table. Because I couldn't make it to the shop on Saturday, I had some buddies we played digitally online, so I could help the wife still at home, so I can help her out and everything. So I was watching them finish up a game, and this guy was playing Edgar Markov, and like it was like 4 or 5 turns in, everyone's like, all right, we're just gonna scoop. We can't beat this. This is ridiculous. And like everyone was kind of a little upset about it. Well, he goes to Architect, which has the bracket system built into it now. So it auto-calculates what bracket you're in. Right on there, bracket 2. And I said, I get that technically.
But they also did say, Gavin did say in the article, it also matters how it plays and intent.
So that's my point against like what you're saying is that's the problem with the lack of definition is because, yes, technically, that Edgar Markov, according to the cards that were in it and that rule set, it is a bracket 2. However, you just can't make some decks fair. You just can't. They won't ever, even with no game changers in it, that Edgar Markov is probably always going to be a 3.
And I don't think Edgar himself he can't be a game changer. It wouldn't be a 2.
Right, exactly.
So he's not a game changer.
He's not a game changer. But again, it's because of the fact that...
that's because as a commander, he's a game changer. But as a card, 99...
He's not.
He's not, because you got to get to him.
Right. And you never have to cast them.
Yeah.
So that's the thing is I think with the bracket system right now, obviously, hopefully they've been working on the definitions this last year.
Well,
they've been taking
the
survey
thing
seriously.
that they said, and this is the thing I do think, you can never have a 100% foolproof system. If somebody wants to game a system, they're going to game a system.
Absolutely, I 100%.
And Blizzard made a point of building a tier 2 deck that was tier 4.
Right.
But it was tier 2. It's only tier 2.
And that is the point. Is that
and his point was, by the rules, it's tier 2, but this is a tier 4. It's very oppressive. It's harsh, but it has no tutors. It has no game changers. It has no infinite combos.
Chain turns.
No chain turns.
Right. Yeah, and that's the thing is, and that's kind of what I told the guys because. They were playing and the game got over, and I was like, listen, I understand 100% by the rules and the way it's built. It is technically a bracket 2, but the underlining theme, and I hate using this, but it's the only thing we can go off of, is the cohesiveness and intent of the deck is not a 2.
Yep.
It's just too synergetic. It's too good. It can't be a 2.
And you're always going to be able to do that. No matter
Right.
what system you have
Right.
of making the rating, you're never going to have a foolproof system where somebody can't build something that's technically lower level, but is intentionally or non-intentionally more powerful than that.
Right. But and in the point that I kind of made to the guys to wrap this up was, you know, at the end of the day, the bracket system is there to help guide people for sitting down and being able to hopefully play fair Magic with other decks that are supposed to be in the same range. And that's the point of it. And so, you know, if someone like for example, I finished a deck and the guy said, "Hey, we're playing 3s." I was like, "Listen, I'm going to be honest. This does have game changers in it. It doesn't have more than 3 though. I don't know if it's a 3. It might be. It might be a little bit stronger though. I just want to be fair warning. I just want to play it against. I haven't played it yet, so I want to see how it falls." Turn 7, I killed everybody. And I was like, okay, so this is probably a 4.
Yeah.
Even though game changer wise, like I only have, I think, 2 game changers in it, or even maybe 1. I can't remember. But I know for a fact there's 1 T-Pros in there. But just the cohesiveness of it, it's just too quick. And it was too good. It was too fast. And so I was like, okay, this is probably more than a 3. And I told the guys too. I was like, guys, I'm so sorry. I did not mean for this to be like a pub stomp. That was not my intent. I literally finished building this deck this morning, and I wanted to play it to see how it fared.
Yeah,
So,
and you did think it might be, but you weren't sure.
Yeah, and that's what I told them. And so they weren't upset, and they were okay with it ultimately. And so I told them, I said, I probably won't play that when someone asks for a 3. I'll probably put that aside as a 4 just to be safe. So, but yeah, I mean.
Now the thing I did challenge Lizard with, I might have mentioned this on the air last week. I'm not sure. I said, you know what you can't do? You can't build a tier 1 as a tier 4.
Yeah.
There's no way. If you build a tier 1 with the spirit of what tier 1's supposed to be,
Right.
a theme that is there purely for the theme.
Right.
So he took up the challenge. We'll see how he does,
I'm
because he
excited to
thinks
see.
he can. And he not only he did a theme, but he also even limited himself further. So he's doing Fast and the Furious, Family First.
Yeah.
You know, and only cards from Aether Drift.
So double themed.
Double themed.
All right, we'll have
I
to
don't think
see.
he can do it.
I mean, it is Lizard though.
Yeah.
The man has some magic knowledge.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see how he fares.
Yep. But so let's talk about the upcoming set changes that we've noticed, a disturbing trend.
Yeah.
So Spider-Man, 100% for sure, and apparently Avatar as well have no commander decks.
Yes.
So, yeah.
All right.
That means no more commander decks for the rest of the year.
Right. So there's a couple different things that they could be doing. And if they're doing if they're doing any of these, I'd be very upset. So the first thing when we kind of were talking about this earlier was, what if they're doing secret layer decks? I said, that is a horrible idea. And that would make him extremely mad to the point of where I don't even think I would buy him. Because much to Jeff's point last week, it is insane to me that you are going to refuse shops from having those decks to sell because you want to sell them yourself. Let the shops have them. Stop it. I'm not going to buy a bunch of special products that you are going to limit to try to get something that should be readily available to everybody. And that to me would be one of the most infuriating things Wizards would have done by far. If they said, we're not releasing the Avatar decks with the set, you have to get them via secret layer that's going to come out 2 weeks after the set drops. And that's the only way you can get them. Like that, I don't think I would buy them. I would steadfastly refuse to buy them in protest of the shop, because the whole reason why I'm really excited about this is not only one, because I love Avatar, but two, I'm really excited to be able to support my local shop and get a bunch of products through them and continue to help them grow. Right? The other thing that we mentioned was that they might be doing these. They might be doing 5 decks, and they might be doing them or holding back on releasing them. So the notes for the pre-orders opened up a couple weeks ago, I think.
Yeah.
And on the list of pre-orders for the Avatar set, there is nothing mentioning commander decks, which is where this whole idea came up of maybe they're not doing them. Maybe we're not getting them.
Right.
Because they have beginner box, Avatar Last Airbender bundle, the collector booster, the gift edition bundle, the Jumpstart 2-pack, the Jumpstart booster box, the play booster, the pre-release carton, and the scene box, which they did announce that they're doing scenes again for Avatar. Now that I am excited about, because that'd be dope to get 6 cards again as a scene. But if they're intentionally holding back these decks,
I don't want to burst your bubble. I don't think they are.
I don't think they are either. But if they are, again, that's very infuriating. I don't know why.
Well, I don't know which you find more infuriating, because I think the truth is there are no more commander decks for the rest of the year.
Right, and so
there could be a secret lair that's not related to Avatar.
Right.
Like, I think they promised a dog deck or a cat deck. I don't remember which one won on the secret lair they did, the cats versus dogs. They said they would make that deck. I don't think that's come out yet, so that might come out, but that doesn't really count.
Right, and then we shouldn't, just like the everyone's invited one.
Yep.
Doesn't really count, because again, it was secret lair only.
I think last year they did 24 commander decks.
Right. So the article that kind of is counteracting this idea that there's not going to be any commander decks for Avatar is at the beginning of the year when they announced how many commander decks that they wanted, they said they were planning on doing 6 less than what they did last year. Last year they did 24.
So they actually didn't say that about commander decks. They said that about sets, and I think it was misattributed to commander decks. Last year they had 13 sets, and this year we had 7.
Well, it says likely 5. M-A-R-O. Maro? I don't know.
Yeah, that's Mark Rosewater's.
Mark Rosewater in his blog said there would be 6 less commander decks this year.
And that's
citing the article.
Right, I understand, but that's somebody on Reddit.
Right.
And I actually read the article.
So
the Mark Rosewater statement, and he was talking about sets, not commander decks.
Okay. So, but the point was that there's 24 commander decks last year, which means if we got 6 less, there'd be 18. As of right now, there's only 13 that have been out, meaning there's 5 missing. If you include the cat and dog one, there'd be 4 missing, i.e. Avatar should have 4. Because they did announce when they talked about Spider-Man, they said up front, no commander decks for Spider-Man, and we knew that. So,
they didn't really say one way or the other on Avatar.
Correct. And so
people made assumptions. A lot of people are like, well, it makes total sense. You do the elements.
Yeah, you have 4 elements. You have four nations, 4 commander decks. Like, how are you not doing 4 precons?
Yep.
Like, it doesn't, like, it's, so ultimately, I will say this. If there is no commander decks for Avatar Last Airbender, I will be upset. And I feel like that's definitely a huge miss on their part.
So that's what I'm saying. Which would you be more upset? None, secret lair, or a secret release of just commander decks?
Secret lair by far I'd be the most mad at. 100% I would be the most mad at. Because to me, that's not only them being and doing something completely ridiculous for no reason, but it's also them literally biting the hand that feeds them by not giving these to the shops, which is insane to me. Like, why are you not trying to support the people who want to support you?
Yep.
It is. I don't understand the mentality of this, and I do have to agree with Jeff on. I don't like how much they're trying to sell directly to consumers and cutting people out more and more and more. Because I remember secret lairs were like once a year.
Yeah.
Way back, like what was it, 8-9 years ago when they first started doing them or so, and it was one a year.
I don't know if it was ever one a year, but it was 2 or 3, maybe first year.
2.
I don't know.
Like it was very little. Like it wasn't what it is now, which is every single month they drop something.
Oh, at least sometimes twice a month.
Right, and it's it's insane to think that we're letting them know it's okay by being okay with it.
So part of the problem is, and we talked about this before with Secret Lair, when they offer a set of cards and one of them is very valuable.
Right.
Excuse me. And you can get that whole set for less than you would pay to buy that card.
All right.
It's hard to say no.
I get that. I do. And
it really is. It's like, well, why am I going to go spend $60 for this card when I can get these 5 cards, which the other 4 are okay, but this one...
Yeah, this one is worth $60.
And I can get all of them for $40.
Right.
I mean, it's hard to say no, and that's why they do it. And they're very careful about the value on those big cards. Like, okay, well, we're not going to put like Smothering Ties, Cyclonic Rift, and Demonic Tutor in the same package.
In the same little package. Yeah, you got to buy each package to get, all three of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I do get that. And listen, I'm not bashing on Wizards for being a company. I mean,
this time.
I mean, I get it. They have to make money, and sometimes selling to the shops, they're probably going to make less money than they would if they sold directly to consumers. And I'm not saying that you can't.
Well, they sell to the distributors, and the distributors sell to the shops.
So what I would say is, in my opinion, they should pull back on the secret layer releases and up the value of them, and then they can up the cost of them. But pull back on them. We don't need 15 secret layers a year. Like, stop. I get it. You bought all these IPs.
They've got to be well above 15. I think they're probably approaching 100.
I'm just guessing.
Because think about some of these drops. You have, like, even when they dropped some of the bigger drops, like the Final Fantasy drop, there were other drops that happened the same time. So there were 3 Final Fantasy drops.
Yeah, plus
the other ones.
And then they did a secret one for Edge of Eternities that no one knew was happening.
Yeah, which is dumb.
Yeah. Like,
I mean, here's the exact same commander deck with a couple other cards.
Right. And so, I get it. Like, I get that you want to use all your IPs that you're buying and you want to make your money off of them. I'm sure that those people that you're buying the IPs from want their cut of the pie as well, whatever the deal may be. So I get that, but I just feel like it is ridiculously exhausting to try to even stay somewhat relevant. And this is the big reason why I hate Standard. Like, you have to spend so much money on Modern and Standard to just try to stay even somewhat relevant. Like, it's why I stopped playing to begin with. And, like, now I feel like it's slowly creeping into Commander because every single set, gotta get this card now to update my deck.
So the reason why they cut back on sets and the reason why they may have cut back on Commander decks is because they admitted that last year people were complaining about product feed, fatigue, oversaturation. They were tired of having to keep up. And because they put out so much, it wasn't all worth it. You know what I mean? Some of those sets I feel like were rushed and they didn't really put as much effort in.
Right, yeah.
So that's why. But my thing is, if you're going to cut back on commander decks, I don't have a problem with that because I don't want to buy them all.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't. But don't stop in August. Like, spread them out so that you get some in the beginning, some in the middle, and some at the end of the year.
Maybe even do just one every quarter or one every third of the year.
Like, I mean, not even August. Was it August or July when the official?
Technically, Edge of Eternities dropped last month, so July.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go 5 months without a commander deck potentially. Yeah. Unless the dog and cats, unless you count that, which I'm not counting.
I'm not counting that because I'm not buying that.
Yeah, I won't even entertain the thought of buying that.
Yeah,
I'm not spending $300-something bucks.
I'm still mad because I after I bought everything else when everybody's invited came out, I went back and bought everybody's invited. I'm like, I'll just buy it. Still haven't opened it.
I wouldn't. I just might as well just keep it and just let it sit on your shelf because you pretty much already have all those cards.
I do. It was dumb. I decided not to buy it, and I'm like, I'm going to go buy it.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing is, I think, in my opinion, I do think that, what's the phrase? Distance makes the heart fonder? Or
absence
makes the heart fonder. Thank you. I think that Wizards might need to go back to that mentality.
Well, that's what they're doing.
Well,
there's no commander decks. Maybe you'll appreciate it more.
No. Well, first off, no, because you definitely missed the mark. Wizards, if you don't have commander decks for Avatar, you missed the freaking mark so hard. It is ridiculous. But furthermore, I feel like they're cutting back in the wrong areas. Like, cut back on the secret layers, please. Stop. Please.
The problem is they consider them almost two different entities within the same product.
I understand that, but the problem is because the secret layers are so frequent and there's so many and they're constantly happening all the time. And on top of that, you have them come out in the middle of the day on Monday. Why? Why not do it, I don't know, Saturday when the majority of your people who are going to be buying it are available to buy it.
Yeah.
And we don't have to worry about people.
People on the West Coast would complain, I got to get up early for this. It's 9 o'clock my time.
Yeah. And on top of that, then I have to have other people get in the queue for me because I'm working at 12 o'clock in the afternoon on Monday.
I mean, so am I, but I have a job where I can at least like have it over here on this screen while I'm working on this screen.
Right. I unfortunately don't have that type of position yet. But I mean, it's just, to me, in my opinion, I don't mind them cutting back on commander decks. I don't like the idea of like doing different amount of commander decks either. I wasn't too fond of that, like doing 2 here, 2 there, 4 here.
Yeah. So
like,
I don't even mind if they just go to 5 commander decks a year. That's what they used to do.
Yeah, just once a year, boom, here's 5 of them.
And here's the command.
I would even be okay with that if it was like at end of the year, here's the top 5 commanders.
But yeah, to your point though, what happened is they're like, we used to do it just, here's the commander release for the year, but now we're going to do it, here's for this set, here's this.
Yeah.
Here's for this set, here's this. And then your favorite set avatar, they're like, here's Jumpstart.
Why?
I mean, Jumpstart could be fun with Avatar.
It could be. I will say that if you know, with the Jumpstart box being available now, there's a slight chance that I might get one of those.
They're usually a lot cheaper.
Right. So I might go with a Jumpstart box maybe, and if there's no commander decks, I might convince my wife to let me get the collector boosters and then maybe a regular play booster, so I can pretty much get the same value I was going to get, but spread out. But I mean, the big thing for me is it's like you need to do it in the right places and in the right way. If you want to pull back on creating commander decks, great. Do it more evenly, though, like you said.
And
like 5 months.
The 2 commander deck ones don't make any sense to me.
They don't make it. Why? No one's going to play 1v1 commander. Why are you only making 2 decks?
Right.
Make 4. Don't be lazy.
Yeah, because otherwise you have 2 of these and 2 of those.
Yeah, it's so silly to me. Well, you can change to the alternate commander. No,
it's the same deck.
Yeah, it's the same deck. Changing the commander doesn't really change anything, and that's why you have them in there. But yeah, I would say I would go to maybe once every 4 months. So thirdly, not quarterly, but thirdly, a set of 4 commander decks once every 4 months, and then cut back on the secret layers.
Well, like I said, or just announce, hey, we're only doing 5 a year from now on, or we're only doing, announce at the beginning of the year, we're going to do 5 commander decks this year. It's going to be 1 release. That's fine.
Yeah.
At least we know what to expect, but don't make us guess.
Yeah, the guessing game is ridiculous. Like, you already make us guess on enough nonsense. Don't make us guess on this too.
So let's move on a little bit. So the other thing is that, and I didn't have this in the notes, so you won't have this, Sloan, but in talking to the guys at Mr. Forge, the ones that own it, Josh and Connor, they told me that, so I was saying about how I was going to start a petition because there aren't enough product for Wizards, for stores to get what they want.
Right.
And the distributors are not distributing it fairly. They're saying, okay, so the big guys like Cool Stuff Inc. or some of those bigger ones, they're like,
most of it there.
Yeah, most of it there because they have like 6 locations. So here's a pallet per location. And then your store, you can have, you want. So they were pointing out, like, if they don't buy the same number of play boosters, collector boosters, everything, then next time they'll get cut back. So if you don't buy, if you want,
crazy.
If you want like 24 play boosters, but you want like 48 collector, I mean that's a weird number because you can't get 48 collector, but the point is you can't. They're like, okay, well if you get 24 play boosters, we'll give you 13 collector or something like that. You know, it's ridiculous. It's like they won't even let you have the same amount. It's. So anyway, but they announced that apparently Wizards must be doing something different because Wizards is now saying that stores will know months ahead of time how much of each product they're going to get.
Well, that's good.
And the current system, they put in what they want, and then the distributor tells them what they're going to get. And like for Edge of Eternities, they didn't know until like 10 days before the pre-release.
That's crazy. Dude,
it's super crazy.
That's insane.
Pre-releases should have been done by then, and they didn't even have them started because their distributor, didn't tell them.
That's insane.
So they must be doing something different because they said stores will know months ahead of time. For instance, they're going to know supposedly how much Avatar they're going to get this month. I think they said the 18th or the 13th, somewhere.
So about mid-month or so.
Yeah.
Okay.
So well ahead of time, so they can actually have time to do pre-orders.
Yeah, because that's always been the big gripe too I have is it's like, hey, we can't take pre-orders until the week of pre-release.
Well, I mean, it hasn't been that bad, but the week before, halfway through.
Yeah, like, I mean, it's like, you got to be kidding me, right? Like, this is insane. Like, and then on top of that, I mean, again, our shop does a really good job of making sure that everyone has a chance to get it. And to give you an idea, when Final Fantasy dropped, they limited how many decks you could get, how many collector boosters you could get, boxes, they limited all that because they said it's not fair for the first guy to come here, walk in the store, and drop 10 grand and buy us out of everything. As much as a lot of other stores would be okay with that because they just want to sell it and show that they're selling it, our store is really well managed, and I got to give those guys props. I mean, they do a great job down there. Yep. And so I love the fact that they don't make all the other customers suffer because the whale got in the front of the line first, and now no one else gets anything. So good on them for doing that. I wish a lot of other stores did that as well. As also, I wish a lot of other stores honor the MSRP like they're supposed to. But that's another rant for another day. But yeah, I mean, I hope so. I hope that they get better at knowing their product line because, again, it's going to help customers also know, okay, I might not be able to get it from this shop, but at least I have an idea of how much they're getting. So maybe other shops in the area, or worst case scenario, if I just got to order it offline, whatever.
Yeah.
But that's
so
good to know.
I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, good thing.
I don't know how they're going to execute it, but they're saying the stores will know that. So very cool. And then Jeff brought this up. Yeah. He was like, I feel like there's less cards in the Spider-Man set. Okay. So I looked into it. There are 297 cards in the Spider-Man set between the core set, the MARs, and the SPEs, because some of those are standard legal, some aren't, so they broke them up. So among all those, there's 297 cards. Edge of Eternity's only had 261. Okay. But I was like, well, let's go further back, because maybe recently they've been doing that. So going back to the Dominaria set, so a few years ago, 269. So it's right there.
Yeah, so it's in line. It's just I think it might feel that way because depending on how the set is laid out, I think determines that. So
well, and the other thing is it feels like less. So let me give you an example. Edge of Eternities. I bought. I told you everybody I bought a bundle and I bought a collector booster and one collector pack. Mm-hmm. So this past weekend, I went into GameStop and I had some GameStop rewards and I wanted to spend them, so I got another bundle. And as I'm opening it, like the first two packs, like I got 3 repeats.
Yeah.
3 cards that I now have 2 of out of 2 packs.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. When I opened all 6, I had about 5 or 6 cards that I had 2 or more of already.
Yeah. And I will say, like, even with the collector booster opening that I did on our YouTube channel, commanderspod.com/YouTube, for your collector box.
Other way around. YouTube.com.
YouTube.com/commanderspod. I did the collector boot, and I actually had one pack where I opened 2 different art versions of the exact same card in one pack.
Yeah, and that happens to me. That happens to me a lot, and they'll be right next to each other a lot of the time.
And that's a collector's pack. That's not like a play booster. Maybe you could get away with it. Like I would get it. It's like, oh well, we gave you, and in the this is a different art, so it's supposed to be more special. But in a collector's pack, you're getting 2 of the exact same card.
Yeah,
like,
and then
Dwayne in the same pack.
Dwayne, before we played on Saturday, was laying out his Edge of Eternities he had got.
Yep.
He got 1.5 play boosters, 2 bundles, and 3 pre-release.
Yep.
And he was laying them out, and he had cards that he had like 15 of.
That's crazy, dude.
Like multiple cards he had like 15 or 20 of. Stacks of them. I'm like, not like 1, 2, 3, 4, like dozens.
That's insane.
That's crazy. Even for commons. I mean, there's something like 116 commons. So you would think out of the cards he'd open, maybe he'd have 1 or 2 that he had that many of.
But just stacks and stacks of. Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah. And there should also be a way to, if you open a certain amount of product, you should have the whole set, and that never happens.
Yeah, no, it never does.
I hold up Lord of the Rings as the set I probably have ever bought the most of.
Yeah.
The original Lord of the Rings set, not the gift release, not the holiday release. I bought a ton.
It's such a good set.
I mean, I'm talking like close to 10 collector boosters, probably 12 or 15 play boosters of that one set.
Right.
And there's still cards I never opened.
Yeah. I mean, I did a lot of Lord of the Rings too, and there's a lot of cards that I also never cracked. I never got.
And I'm not even talking about like the Elven Soul Ring, those special versions. I'm talking about if there's any version of the card at all, I count that I got it, right?
Yeah.
And there's cards I never got. So it's just, I mean, you can never guarantee, but if there was one or two cards, but there's probably like a dozen or more that I never saw.
Right. And
now other cards, which I'm not always upset about it, like Mirkwood Bats. I have so many Mirkwood Bats.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, it is a great card. I love that card.
Love that card.
So good. I mean, and that's the thing too, is I would say that like if the cards that you're missing are the mythics and the rares, completely justifiable. Like even if you open a lot, like if it's a mythic that you're missing, I get it. Like that should be that way. But if I've opened a bunch of products and I'm missing uncommons, I'm like, you got to be kidding me. There's no way I should be missing these uncommons from the set. That should not be, and it does. But you have 40 versions of another one. Like this one card, you're like, I could literally start a small bonfire and still have cards left over of this card.
Yeah.
Like I could use this as kindling for years and still have copies.
And while we're at it, they don't need to print basic lands in every set.
Yeah, please. Okay, if you're doing the full art special ones, great, do those. Don't give me just a regular basic land. I don't need that. I have 2 boxes worth of basic lands at my house.
And anybody the argument is, well, what if somebody's new? If you go to your local game store, they will give you basic lands.
Yes, they have them by the fistful. They will gladly go into their back room and come back with a garbage bag full of basic lands for you to get. And again, I'm not talking about the special full art ones that they do with the special art on them or the special foil version, or not talking about that. Or I'm talking about just the plain Jane, regular bordered plains, and I don't need those. Stop, please. I get it.
I don't even care if you mean that means I get one less card. I don't want to have to keep throwing them out.
Yeah. I mean, I have a stack on my desk. It must be this tall of just from this year, the basics I pulled from packs. Like just this year, man. I'm like,
at this point,
there's gotta be 500 cards there.
I will keep the foil basics that are,
I do keep those.
Not the full art, just a regular foil one. Other than that, I throw out lands.
Yeah.
Now, somebody pointed out the other day, I try to remember what set it was. It wasn't too long ago, an older set. It was like Morrowind or something. The basic islands and all that, the basic versions were worth like $2 each.
Yeah.
He's like, man, I bet you I threw a bunch of these out.
Probably.
But at that point, you've saved them for how many years? Like the storage fees on that? Like,
right, yeah.
Just pretend you charge yourself storage. It's still not worth it.
Yeah. So.
But anyway, so there is not less cards in any of these sets.
Yeah, it's pretty on par.
It's pretty on par. Some of the distribution may not be on par, but
And your pack openings might not be on par.
Yeah.
You might be getting 4 of the same exact card in 3 packs.
So next bit of news, and probably a lot of people have already heard about this, but we have our first Infinity Stone in the Marvel sets.
Yeah, so we have the Soul Stone. It's a black artifact, legendary artifact. Thank God. Can't copy it. But 1 in a black, pretty good.
Watch
Indestructible. Indestructible, taps for a black. So that alone is pretty good.
It's very good.
Saves you from board wipes. Granted, it can only tap for black,
but I mean, look at the what's the black? So like, there's the Sky Diamond, the
Jet Medallion,
and
then that's the one that makes black spells cost 1 less. And then there's the
but there's the other one that comes in tapped. Is my point?
Comes in tapped, and it taps for a black.
Yeah, there's
and
Sky.
I think it's a 2-drop, right?
Yeah, it's a 2-drop.
Yeah.
And it comes in tapped.
Yeah.
And other than that, the only other 2-drops that tap for colorless, for the most part, with the exception of like Arcane Signet and Felwar Stone, they're is it the Signets that are 2?
Yeah, the Signets cost 2, and then you have to filter 1 into it.
Right.
To get 2 colors.
I mean, so comparing it to any of that,
yeah, I mean, it's solid.
It's fantastic.
For sure.
Just right there. And it's indestructible. So if that was where it stopped,
that'd be a great card.
That'd be a great card, but it's not a great Infinity Stone, so there's more.
So 6 and a black, tap
Which is
it.
a lot.
It is a lot, but you'll know why here in a second. Exile a creature you control. Harness the Soul Stone. So harness means once harnessed, its infinity ability is active.
So think of it like when Black Widow had to sacrifice herself for them to get the Soul
Right.
Stone.
Right.
You know, it's like that. It's like you have to like
Give up something in order to harness it.
Yep.
At the beginning of your upkeep, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield.
Any creature you want.
Yeah, and here's the kicker. There is a creature that does the same ability. You know her. We all know her. We hate her. Shieldred. She is a 7-drop.
Yep.
This, by logic, only costs 1 more and is indestructible.
Right.
Yeah.
And also can be tapped for mana.
And can be tapped for 1 black mana. So I would give up making my opponent sacrifice a creature on their upkeep to have an indestructible mana resource that returns 1 from my graveyard every turn.
So what you're saying is you would exile Shieldred in order to activate this.
Yeah, Shieldred. Sorry, freaky predator or spider woman, witch, whatever you are. You're in exile for all of eternity. I could care less about you. I would take this over you any day of the week. In my opinion, I could see this very quickly going into more competitive decks because of the ability it has to be indestructible and tap for the black.
Yeah, and it's only 2.
And it's great. I mean, you could literally get this out on turn 1 in some decks.
Yep. So, I mean, that's a great card. So the thing is, there's more Infinity Stones, 5 more.
Right.
So I was talking to the shop about this, too, while we were talking about other things, and we were talking about this. And so we were going back and forth on how are they going to release the rest? So I said, well, it seems like they're doing 1 a set, right? They said they're going to do multiple Marvel sets over the course of years.
Right.
At least 1 a year, one would assume.
Correct.
Okay. If they did that, it would take 6 years, right? If they're only doing 1 set a year.
Right.
And I do think they will probably only do 1 Marvel set a year. I think what they will do is so if you do it 1 a year and it takes 6 years, that leaves out standard.
Right.
This card's standard legal, but they're never going to see the full set.
Yeah, they wouldn't be able to harness all
6.
So
I personally don't think they would do that to players. Some other people think they might. I don't. I think they will allow the payoff to come in standard. You'll see all 6.
So, counter argument to that is Foundations. They could use Foundations because it recycles every 3 years, right? I think
5.
Every 5 years. They could use that to pull them all up, and so when the 6-year drops, they'll then have all 5 access.
I see what you're saying.
So they could use Foundations on the 5th year.
Yeah, but then you're saying, here's your stone, here's another stone, here's another stone. Okay, now you got to put those ones away. We're rotating standard. Here's a stone.
They don't care about standard
Here's a
players.
stone.
They'll do that to them.
Here's another stone, and then here's Foundations. Oh, you got to put your other ones away, but here's all 6. So that's 2 generations of standard.
Yeah. Well, you have to also take into account that the Foundations have already been active for what, 2 years now or 1 year?
2 years.
So we're already 2 years into it. So it's technically only 3 more years.
Right.
And then the other Infinity Stones, they would still be legal if they did it in Foundations.
Well, I mean, maybe, but I think they're going to do 2 in sets and maybe 3 in the last.
The other thing I'm thinking of, if they do that, it depends on who they do for Marvel.
So that was the other suggestion.
Right.
So my predictions: Avengers, X-Men.
Okay.
And then maybe like a Secret Wars or some type of like all-encompassing set. And then they can always go back and do Fantastic Four.
You know what they could do?
What's that?
That would actually line up really well with what they just did. They could do Guardians of the Galaxy.
They could.
Because they just did Spacecraft. They could very easily get Guardians of the Galaxy in there and for it to make sense. Because Guardians of the Galaxy, I think they did go after one of the stones.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly.
Yeah, one of the stones. Yep.
Yeah, they went.
In the very first episode, they didn't know it was a.
Yeah, they didn't know.
Not episode, movie.
Yeah.
They got a stone. They didn't know it was a stone then.
Right. I think it was it the reality one or whatever? It was the purple one. What the heck's the purple one?
I don't know.
I don't know.
But they changed the color of the stone itself in this one. Some people were complaining about that. The soul stone was white, and now it's black.
Yeah, whatever. Get over it.
So, Josh, one of the shop owners, pointed out. He goes, "Here's the problem, though. People go, well, the reality stone, that seems like blue, right? Time stone, that seems like blue, right?
Yeah. Power stone, that seems like green.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But most things are like this could be blue, this could be blue, this
right.
could be blue.
Yeah, you're gonna start doubling up on some of them. So I'm curious to see what they do, see how they make them work. That one is very on theme for what it does.
They already showed the gauntlet. We'll get an Infinity Gauntlet too. So this also came out. People were confused because they're like, the type says Infinity Stone,
right?
2 words, and so they're like, is this another 2-word type? And Wizards came out and said no, those are 2 separate types.
Oh.
So Infinity is a type. So the Infinity Gauntlet
could
be coming.
Okay. That'd be crazy if they did.
So then if you have the Infinity Gauntlet and you have like pairs of stones may do something, and if you have all 6, it does something else.
So that's the other question too. Since there's 6 stones, what's the 6th color going to be? Are they going to finally make purple a color?
No.
This is how they do
there
it.
Will
Make purple a color by breaking.
So it'll be the 5 colors and colorless.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yep. So I said the same thing in the shop. So like, psh. I think it was Josh again goes, no, they'll do 5 colors and colorless. So yeah, of course they will. The Eldrazi stone.
Yeah, oh gosh, please don't. I'll kill myself.
But so it's cool that we're getting Infinity Stones.
It is exciting. I definitely think that if they're all going to be on this caliber, we're definitely going to see these probably in the higher tier bracket. And depending on what happens and how they have them interact, good chance they might sneak their way onto the GC list.
Yep.
Maybe. So we'll see.
So the last thing we have is player tips.
Yes. So this is one actually Jeff brought up, ironically, and he's not here.
There's been several things he brought up. He did want to make sure his presence was felt, even though he was not going to be here.
So the big thing is he brought it up and he mentioned, he was like, can you talk about player mat etiquette? So your player field. So when you have your play mat out, so we're going to put one behind us on the green screen. And so I'm going to try to point to different areas on the green screen, and hopefully I'm close to where it is on the mat.
Yeah.
But essentially, we wanted to kind of talk about how we set up our play mats when we're playing the game and kind of what we believe to be proper etiquette for it to help other players understand what is on your field of play and what is available. So first things first, we're going to start with this.
So what I will put up there is the Cool Stuff Inc. beginner playmat, because this has a lot of that stuff on it.
Correct, it does. So
and you use it.
I use it. I actually handed it over to my buddy because he got back into Magic, and so I wanted to help him out. So I gifted it to him as it was gifted to me.
I will say this too, though. The way that they have theirs set up, you're losing space because they have untap, upkeep, draw on all your steps and phases on the left-hand side, which is prime real estate that I use.
Right. So what I will say is, if you are brand new to Magic and you are trying to remember how to, this mat that you're seeing now, best mat for any beginner. I recommend this mat to every single beginner player, and the main reason why is it lays everything out for you. Like Duncan says, you're losing real estate, but it also has the turn phases on it, and that's the most important thing for new beginner players.
And the other thing that I would point out here, I'll put this up so you can see it, and then I'll point to our one that will be behind us. So they have Exile up here in the upper left and right next to that command zone.
Right.
Fine, but I would bump it up because they have a little icon there. I'd bump it up to the very top corner.
So yeah,
take up your real estate.
Yeah, the reason why the icon's there is because that's for your life dice.
Right.
That's what.
And they do make a left and right hand version of this.
Correct.
So depending on which way you like it, for me personally, in a 4-player pod, okay, let's say it's me and you, 2 people sitting directly across from us, I put my deck and my graveyard furthest to the left, away from everybody else, so it's not blocking anybody's view of my board.
Right. So if you are, if the life counter hypothetically we're going to put is in the middle here, and Duncan is sitting where he's at, and I'm sitting where I'm at, and we have 2 people across from us. Duncan is putting his stuff to the left, and I do the same thing except opposite. I put mine to the right.
Right. So you may not use this exactly, but it gives you a general idea. Right. But the Exile and Command Zone being in the upper corner, that's fine. A lot of times too, you have enough space. I put them off board.
Yeah, so that's the thing that I will say. So for me personally, I actually put my deck off board, my graveyard off board, and then I put my commander, if I'm in this spot of the 4-man pod, I will put my commander in the middle so everybody can see it and keep track of the tax.
So the other thing I will say that Cool Stuff has, and I'm not promoting them. I just went through and said like they get all the product on our store. Doesn't. However, they have some very cool stuff.
They do.
They have a Commander Command Zone 4-player smaller mat.
Yes.
I'll put that up real quick here, show you. But it has a spot for everybody's commander and commander damage and things like that.
Attacks and everything.
And I have one. I've gotten away from using it because I don't want to have to break it out every time. It's something else that I have to pack away. But it's so cool. Every time I do bring it out, people are like, "Oh, that's awesome!"
It's great.
You know, you get them at conventions and stuff. You can get them. But so
then they have.
You can use off-board real estate when you have the space.
Yeah.
If it's a tighter shop, you know, or where you're playing,
yes,
then stick to what we're saying. Put it in the upper left-hand corner, right-hand corner is fine for command zone.
So on this, you got the exile, you got the command zone, you got the library, and then you have the graveyard.
Right.
So a lot of people, and you might see this if you're new to the shop, is they'll put their exile underneath their graveyard sideways.
Or on top of sometimes, one or the other.
Or on top of it.
I'll tell you why I put it on top. I have run into this so many times. So somebody plays a card like Tasha's Hideous Laughter, and you have to exile till you get 20 mana value worth of stuff, right? So you exile. There's a lot of lands in there. So you put your exile at the bottom tapped, right?
Yeah.
Well, where are your lands?
Yeah.
Right next to it.
Right next to it tapped, yeah.
Right next to it. So if you get a ton of lands out, right? Wait, was this tapped? Did my land slide over? I don't remember this being on top of the exile pile. Is this my land? Is this an exile? And it gets messy. So that's why I started putting it above my library.
Yeah, and I will say they do have it, again, they have it spaced out. It's in the top left portion over here.
Which isn't a bad idea to keep it totally away from your graveyard, totally away from
separate.
your lands. And so there's never you don't have to turn it sideways.
Right.
It's just right there. I kind of like that. I might start doing that more. But the common thing you see is it below or above the library.
Yeah.
Lands, obviously at the bottom. That's the easiest thing people get, right?
Yeah, everyone does that one for the most part correctly. They're always at the bottom. And side note on etiquette, this isn't placement, but please tap them the same way. Don't tap them multiple different ways. That is insane.
Unless you're trying to drive Sloan crazy, which I do.
Are you a crazy person? You're going to tap one this way, then tap this one this way, then tap this. Why? Just tap them all the same way. Make them look all nice and pretty.
Yep.
The other thing I would say, too, is if you have multiple, like a lot of lands, if the game's going late, one of the etiquette things to do is don't just make it one big stack. At least spread them out a little bit.
Yeah. What I do is I put the top edge visible and then fan them down.
And then what I also generally do is if you're doing a multicolor deck is I try to keep all the same color lands together. So all these ones are white, these ones are all blue, these ones are all red.
And
so
if you have multicolor, you can have like the different combination.
These are all the multicolor ones here that produce multiple different colors. So, and that does two things if you stack them like that. One, it makes it so it's easier for everyone to know, okay, these are the colors he has available.
And how many.
Yeah, and how many. And then two, it lessens the real estate that you're like on your own board to where you're not bleeding into the next section, which is the battlefield, this big middle section.
Which is everything else.
Right.
So the way they have it, it's everything else.
Yeah.
Here's what I would say. The common mistake that I see people make that causes issues is putting your mana rocks down with your lands. I get it. You're like, it's mana. However, every single time somebody plays like a Cyclonic Rift, somebody who does that, it's like it's 2 turns later, it's like, wait, how's your Soul Ring down in your lands? That got bounced. I never saw you play it again. Oops.
Or Vandal Blast.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times we've done an overloaded Vandal Blast and someone has their artifacts in their lands and they get to their turn, they cast a bunch of stuff, and we're like, wait a minute. You don't have those 3 rocks down there.
Yep.
They are gone.
So what I do is I put them the line above my lands. So they're still kind of close, but they're not down in there. When I tap them separately. I don't put them in the stack with my land when I'm doing it right. Sometimes the board state gets out of control, and you got to do what you got to do. But this is what I try and do.
Yeah.
And then for me, I don't know about you, but enchantments, I tend to put on the left border of the battlefield or the right border of the battlefield.
Right. So because I have OCD and I'm a psychopath, I have a very specific way I do my board every single time. So we'll finish off the Cool Stuff Inc. event real quick. So the very, very top section they have across the battlefield is the combat zone.
And why is that important?
Because the combat zone, it makes it very easy to distinguish who is attacking and who is not attacking.
Especially, so there's 2 things at work here, right? You might have mana dorks.
Right.
Or things that tap to do other things. So you have these guys tapped here, and then you have other creatures you're attacking with.
Right.
So, and if you have a bunch of stuff, your opponent's like, wait, what's attacking? What was already tapped?
Yeah.
And who's it attacking?
Right. So the nice thing I do like about the combat zone, which I still use technically when I kind of do stuff, is you move your creatures up to the top, and so that way everyone can see, okay, these are the creatures that are attacking. All the stuff down here, none of these are attacking.
Yep.
Whether they're untapped or tapped, they either were mana dorks or used for some kind of ability. Only these ones up here are attacking.
Right. And if it has vigilance,
right.
you know,
you don't have to tap it.
You don't have to tap
But
it.
you know it's
But you
attacking.
know it's attacking. And if it's down here, it's like, wait, did you attack with that? I can't remember. There's 17 other things.
Right. So this is an etiquette thing I would recommend trying to get in the habit of if you can, is I like to move my creatures to the top when they're attacking, even of my playmats that don't have this, because I think it's the best way to distinguish what is happening and when. And then once combat is done and everything resolves, I will then move them back down so people know. So, but that's the cool stuff, Ink Matt. I highly recommend it if you're a new player. This is such a great way.
There are variations of this too. Other companies have made knockoffs. They're all basically the same.
Yeah.
As long as it doesn't look complicated, I think it's safe to try.
So what I do is, when it comes to my board, is I have all my creatures in the main part of my board. If I have mana rocks that tap, they are on the far right, and I stack them with the ability showing and the picture covered. So to kind of give you an idea, if this is my soul ring, I don't put it like this, I put it like this. So I can see the text and the picture is covered, and I can then see the text of the card on top. And those will always go in my
because the name, the mana cost, the picture really doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter anymore.
Most of the time.
It's already on the field. I already know what it does. I just need to know what it's tapping for. And I always put those on the far right side on the edge. If I then have artifacts that are equipment, I do the same thing. I cover the picture, but I stack them vertically in a row down on the far right side. Once they become equipped, they then slide under the commander, again with the ability showing, but the picture not showing.
So that's very similar to how I do it, except, like I said, I do put my mana rocks above my lands, because that way it's easier to access.
Yeah.
And I do have my artifacts on the right. I put enchantments on the left.
So I will keep my enchantments on the right also, in the next column straight down, doing the same exact thing.
I mean, I guess it's the same amount of real estate.
And so it's the same amount of coverage. And then again, the big thing for me is, if I can, I will always have my deck, my graveyard, and my exile off my playmat. So the only thing on my playmat is stuff in play. Period. There is nothing else on my playmat.
When able.
When able. Obviously, I'm not going to be that guy and be like, "Excuse me, sir, I need you to move so I can pick my deck off to the side."
I'm sure you've thought about it.
I think about it every time, but I don't do it though. That's the difference. It's called self-control. But so, in my opinion, the reason why I like this is because all of my stuff that is either state-based or not currently equipped or activated is all in one spot right here on my playmat.
Yep.
Creatures right in the middle, and then mana at the bottom. And I only put lands at the bottom. And the biggest reason why is because I don't want to forget that they got destroyed or they got bounced back to my hand. So that is a big reason why I don't even like putting them close, because I don't want to forget.
Yep.
And then the other thing I like to do is, as I use my mana, I will put it in a pile off to the right. So my untapped mana
once
stays
it's
to the left.
tapped, it's not as big a deal if you stack it up.
And so what I do is, once I start tapping it, I will then start moving them all over to the right and put them in a stack to the right, so I know which ones I used and which ones I haven't used, and everyone else can just clearly see these ones are untapped, these ones are tapped, they're used, these ones are able to be used. So, and again, the biggest reason why is I want to make sure I give everybody the least amount of reasons to say, well, I don't understand what's happening on your board.
Yeah.
It's too cluttered. And I will say, as a more veteran player, there are even some other veteran players where it's very frustrating sometimes trying to keep track of their board for them, because they themselves get confused because it's just in disarray.
Other thing I've seen people do when they tap their mana, for instance,
Yeah.
each spell they tap the appropriate amount of mana goes in a stack.
Right.
So then the next spell goes in a stack or ability.
Right.
That way, if there's ever a question,
Right.
if they miscounted their mana, okay, this spell, that was here. Okay, there's that. This spell, that was here. Here's that. That ability is here. Here's 2 mana for that. Yeah. Whatever it is, takes up a little more room than stacking it in one stack. But usually, unless you're playing like a super landfall green deck, you have enough room to do this. And that way you can keep track of what you did in what order and did you pay for it.
Yeah, and then the other thing is, too, once the turn ends and everything's resolved, just go ahead and put it in one stack off to the side. You're good. Because now we know everything was cast properly. We know the right mana was tapped for it. We're good to go. You can put it in one stack and put it off to the side. So that's the other thing, too. I think the last point I would make is when certain things are done and they no longer, quote-unquote, matter because they've already been activated or they've been used and they can't be reused, you can then put that stuff in a neater pile off to the side. Like, even, for example, once I used like my Soul Ring, my Arcane Signet, my Felwar Stone, I don't show the full text box anymore. I put them in a nice stack with just the name showing at the top because it makes the stack go from this down to like this. And then I put it off to the side so that way if someone says, hey, how many artifacts do you have? I can go 1, 2, 3. I can see all 3 of them. They're right there. And it just keeps your board cleaner and it keeps it a little less cluttered, especially if the games are getting longer and you're getting into later rounds. But it's just little things like that help clear up things that could potentially become issues because someone's like, well, I didn't know you had that mana available to counter that. I wouldn't have cast that because all your mana is tapped in different directions and it's some of them are diagonal and some of them aren't. Like, how am I supposed to know what is and isn't tapped? It's all over the place. And I know that may seem like, well, that's super petty. That guy should just get over it. But at the same time, by you not trying to at least be respectful enough to make sure everything is clear on your board, I would say you're also somewhat being disrespectful to them because you're saying, well, just get over it. Well, in their defense, like, they're there to try to play a game and have a good time, and your board is at a point where it's unreadable.
Right. And you also see people, the way they tap it, they'll have, I tap this land here, and I tap this land here, and I tap this land here, and I tap this land here. And it's like, wait, which one did you tap first? You're trying to go backwards now. It's like
right, and that's the other thing too is if you miscounted mana or something like that, you misplayed something. Kind of to Duncan's point with the separate stacks is no one's going to be able to follow that if you're
you tap this one here and this one here for one spell, and then you tap one here, another one over here, and one over here for another spell, and then it's like, wait, how much did you just tap just now, and how much did you tap before? It gets very messy. Especially, there are players that forget their own stuff. Right. And trying to police them or help them, whatever you need to do, is extremely tough when they don't have an organized way of doing it.
Yeah. So, I mean, it seems like it's crazy talk from us, but we've both been playing a long time. We've played with people who don't have clean board states, and it's very aggravating when you think you can understand what their board is showing, and then you go to do something like, oh, no, I'm going to stop that. It's like, with what mana? Oh, all of this is available. Well, why was it all tilted sideways then?
Yeah. Oh, it wasn't sideways. It was just kind of corner.
It was just at a 3/4 angle. It wasn't actually tapped down.
And some people, that's how. Like, I am a 3/4 tapper. Some people are a full 90 degrees tapper.
Oh,
you better be. Well, it doesn't matter as long as you're consistent. Well, and if your non-tapped ones are obviously non-tapped. Right. If you keep that clear, it doesn't matter whether you're 45 or 90. If you don't keep it clear, make sure you're 90. If you have a sloppier way of doing things normally and it's like kind of half tapped and half untapped, it's like just do the 90.
Yeah, because the sad thing is too is like even sometimes if I were to ask that person beforehand, how much mana do you have available? They're like, hold on, let me double check. I got to go back and count my spells. Yeah. It's like, dude, this is crazy. What?
You should be able to know that like that.
You should be able to look down at your own board and know what mana you have available. Yeah. If you have to count your own spells and redo the mana.
Now, I will say what is crazy is Sloan, the way he likes decks, because he has many times reached over and straightened my deck because a couple cards were off kilter. Yeah. So what do? Take the top half and kind of put it at a 45-degree angle from the bottom half.
I hate the fact that my friends know this about me. It's so aggravating. The worst part is they do it to my deck, and that's where I really draw the line.
Because he's the type, when stuff should be tapped, it better be tapped. Yeah, doesn't matter if it matters. When he plays his turtle deck, he'll reach over and tap your planeswalker.
Yeah, it came into play tap. I don't care if it doesn't matter. The rules say it does, it does.
He is very particular. Yeah. But when you do that on your deck, which doesn't matter, he tends to focus on that and maybe miss something else you're doing. So just a little tactic if you ever face him. But anyway, so that's some suggestions. Planeswalkers I tend to put kind of mid-board in between creatures and the battle zone.
Usually that's where I put mine. My planeswalkers are going to be between my creatures and my lands.
Yeah,
because it's
that's
kind of the idea of my creatures can block for my planeswalkers. So that's why I do that. But again, put them in a place very obvious, as well as I usually always use a bigger spin down if I have one for their loyalty, so everyone can see how much loyalty is on it.
Yep. The other thing I would say, if you have a deck, like let's say the counterintelligence deck that has multiple types of counters, please have multiple color dice.
Yes.
Okay? Especially when things are being moved, and we ran into this with Mike's deck, and it was like he only had he had a huge, one of those 24 or whatever, I don't know how much.
+1/+1?
No, the
Regular,
D6s.
the regular D6s.
Yeah, the miniature ones that come in like a
Yeah,
square, and it's like, I don't know how many, there's like 24.
Yeah, I think it's 24.
But that's all he had, and then it's like, well, wait, this now has charge counters and +1.
Yeah, you can't tell me which one.
So I lent him my +1. You don't have to buy the fancy dice, but try and have multiple colors so that try and make things as clear as possible to other people. Yes, you may know that those are two separate counters. Other people, it's hard to tell.
Right. Yeah, and to I guess help out with that too. We'll give you another pro tip. There is really cheap dice that you can buy on Amazon for like $10,
and they're even cheaper on Temu.
Yeah, and it will be like 15 red D6s for like $10.
Yeah.
15 green D6s for $10. And so what you can do is you can put that out, and if you have a little infinite token card, you can say red dice equal charge counters, green dice equal 1/1 counters. And then that way you have the little card there so everyone knows, okay.
But even if you don't have that card, at least if you're keeping them separate, it's easier to follow.
Yeah. Because
your thing over here only can have charge counters. We know if it has a red die, then the other thing with the red die also has charge counters.
Correct.
So just the more straight you can keep your board, I would say anywhere from 10 to 20% of the fights that break out over Magic, not fist fights, but like verbal altercations, are over somebody not keeping track of what's going on their board, and somebody else saying, how am I supposed to read that you were able to do that?
Right.
I thought you were tapped out. I would never have done this if I had known that you had mana available.
Right. And again, and we get it. Games sometimes go long, and your board states get crazy. And we understand that.
And it's 2:00 in the morning sometimes, and tempers are flaring.
Yeah, and everyone wants to win, and we get it. So we're not saying that this is a perfect system, but hopefully, if you exhibit the etiquette of your board to everybody else, at the very least, maybe you can know at the end of the day, well, it wasn't my board's fault that maybe they misunderstood what was going on, because it is clean, it is concise, everything's in a certain place, and I always try to convey that while I'm playing.
Yep. So that's our pro tip. It was a little longer today, but we also felt like it was something we hadn't really done.
Yeah.
And it can be important. It seems small, but you will, if you play Magic for any amount of time, you will have a game or games, multiple for sure, where it's like that mattered.
Yes, it does matter. And so it's just, and again, it's also respectful to the other players. Even if you don't think it matters, think about the other players. And like Jeff always says, people are more important than this game. Think about the respect that you're showing them by keeping your board a little bit cleaner. And
I will point out, there are players that intentionally play sloppy like that to hide and cheat. Yeah. So to prevent any question of whether you did it something intentionally or unintentionally, just make things clear and concise and be as neat as you can. But anyway, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for joining us. You can always find us at commanderspod.com. Find us on YouTube, youtube.com/@commanderspod. You can find us on Patreon, patreon.com/commanderspod if you want to support us or join as a supporter. We'd really love to have you. You can find us on all the streaming sites, Audible, Spotify, iHeartRadio,
YouTube Music,
Apple Music, whatever it is. You can find us there. And as always, play bold, swing wide, and don't forget to pay the one.
Commander's Pod, where the stories unfold, with heroes and villains, new and old. Duncan and Sloan guide the way in the world of games we play. So tune in, friends, let's fly and go. In the Commander's Pod, the love will show. From our decks to yours, we share the spark in the world of magic. We'll leave our mark.